Hey! So, I have an idea today. I've been working on my characters' designs recently because, Art Fight, it really makes you take notice. A lot of your character sheets are pretty outdated, but you still don't technically really have a finalized design, so you're trying your best. And I was redesigning my OC Kate. Here's her art reference currently. It's not very good. It's not even accurate to the slight changes I have, but I don't have anything solid. And these are the sketches I started doing. I want to emphasize her squareness. I want to make sure her squareness shape language is strong. I want to make her look a doctor, but actually look interesting and have it kind of fit her personality. I want her to also look more like her age. I imagine her being late 30s, early 40s. So there's a lot we gotta think about here with her. I kind of wrote down some notes, and then I also did this page last night. You can tell I was struggling. When I was drawing her, I realized I needed to practice my anatomy for larger women, so I practiced that and then wanted to draw some men. I actually started filming this, and then my phone ran out of storage, and half of the footage got lost. It probably wasn't that interesting anyways. Back to these drawings. I was kind of iffy on things, but what I want to do today is just kind of try and find these ways to help steer my character design in the right direction for Kate. I don't think I'm going to end up maybe with a completely solid design by the end of this. If I did, wouldn't that be so awesome? But I can't say for sure, and I think the best thing I can do is just get started, so let's do that. One of the ideas I had was looking at other people's doctor characters on Art Fight, maybe? Trying to pull some inspiration, not blatantly stealing anything, of course, because I wouldn't do that. Yeah, let's go on Art Fight. I don't know, is there any way we can look up? I think I'll look up just doctor. Does that work? Let's try this. Okay. So we have some doctors coming up. I see some plague doctors. This guy seems fun. Yeah, I kind of like that neckline. I feel like that could maybe emphasize her square shape, but those boots are also cool. It's kind of like, I want her to be more cool, but still make her feel like a doctor. Like, I feel like it's a hard balance because I don't know like what fits her personality necessarily. This is cute. This character seems more like soft, kind of similar to Kate. Generally, her personality, it's like, I actually have a hard time nailing it down because I've kind of been playing around with it in my head. I imagine that she's sometimes very calm moments, but I also think that she can be very irrational and out there, but I don't think crazy doctor vibe. Like, she seems very put together on the surface, and that's what I want. Ooh, I like this. I guess let's do some exploration. I'll turn off my iPad. Her main color is blue. That's one thing I've kind of had solid for her since her babyest years. And so things that I already like about her design right now, I like her face and her hair. Those I feel like suit her. I kind of like the weird bang thing she has going on and like the shapy blockiness of her hair. So something like that. But I kind of want to try out one of the square necks. Maybe we could cinch it right here. I just want to make sure that her age is more apparent. I mean, she also used to be a lot younger. I think she was meant to be like early 20s, which doesn't make sense for literally a doctor. I guess I could just kind of do some lore dump. I need to do more studying of this before I start committing to any ideas. Basically, I've been playing around with the idea of her being bipolar, but she's at a point where it's very manageable, and then something happens later in the story that makes it a lot harder for her to manage it. These hands it makes it a lot harder for her to manage her disorder, and it leads her very far away from where she was at the beginning of the story, and she loses basically the thing that's like helping her maintain her bipolar disorder. So that's awesome. This design, I kind of like it, but also it looks like a lot of my other characters. One of the things I liked about these sketches is the shoes. I really like the idea of giving her sneakers. I think that helps sell the she's a little bit older. Those sneakers just with the rest of the doctor uniform feel very your older doctor who's wearing comfy shoes because she's too old to give a shit about stylistic stuff. She needs the convenient shoes that don't hurt her feet. I kind of like this. I feel like I don't like it as pants. So let's do a little concept of just that. I might make a smaller doodle. I also kind of liked the idea of her wearing capris under it just because that also felt like it emphasized the fact that she is in fact an older woman. Well, I just think of it as like, what do my parents wear? What do my coworkers wear even? Like, yeah, they wear the comfy shoes, they wear capri pants, and then they're like, I have a fit. I didn't want to have her just in a bland jacket because that's what she's in right now. She isn't doing it for me like I want her to. I like this more. I'm also glad that it gives like space for maybe a name tag. Maybe like it's just some sort of interesting design down here to give it some flair. It just kind of feels simple. Yeah, I really like giving her the chunkier sneakers. I like this sketch the most so far, so let's do maybe a bit of color to it. Maybe. Okay, I have so many different blues in Tombow brush pens that this would be a good way to play around with the grayscale. So something I've done before when I design characters is I basically do the line work of the design first, and then I put in grayscale, and then I figure out the colors from there. I want to make these dark, like she has black capris maybe. I'm kind of playing just with the tones of everything right now, I guess. I feel like the jacket being like pretty white makes sense, but maybe like a couple details that are darker, like maybe she has these little, kind of like that, ooh. And then I could make this part lighter. I kind of want this to be a different color, but I don't know what would go there. Like I could put the darker blue, but it doesn't make sense. I like this so far. I also just like this because it makes playing around with things a little simpler. I like this a lot. I really like that. She looks like she's almost an astronaut, which we'll have to make sure I don't. I don't know, I think there's something about the lines there maybe. So I like to write notes also when I do work on character designs. Used to have her hair like pretty dark, but now I want to like bring it back to really light blue. Like at one point it was really light blue, and I thought that was like a really pretty contrast against like her darker skin, so we'll have to play with that. I really like this. I love her. Okay, maybe I'll just do a sketch in this darker blue, and then we can add in like potential color options. I really like these sketches that I do at this stage. So basically at this point I don't really have a super strict thing that I do. I'm kind of talking like I do have a strict way of redesigning characters, but I actually kind of don't. When I've done this in the past, I like to make these little doodles more simplified so that I don't have to spend as much time on them, because mostly what I'm trying to do at this point is figure out some color options. So all of the characters in this story, well, not all of them, but there's like the core 6. Red is Ko or Chandler, and Chandler is her husband, and that's both of them being red. I think I might change Chandler back to being pink, because he used to be pink. Okay, so Ko, back to the color thing. Ko is red and Chandler might be pink. Dawn is orange, Reese is yellow, Aaron is green, Kate is blue, Finn is purple. That was like how I designed them initially back in, I don't know, whenever I made them, like 2020. I like this. I just feel like I need another color. Like maybe I should trade out the black for a different color. I don't know. Let's do another sketch and see where that lands me. I also think doing more of these sketches like it's gonna help me memorize the design a bit more. I have a really hard time memorizing my own character designs. Kate's design, she also used to have a pink shirt. If I gave her some pink in her design, I think maybe that would be cute because it would match with Chandler's colors, and then maybe in turn I can put some blue in his design. Whenever I get around to redesigning him, he has never, ever since I made him not a white boy named Charlie, he has not ever had like a really solid design, and that's fine. Well, no it's not, because I never draw him. Now I have to think actually, because I think if I do pink, it might be really light against it, which I could do a darker pink, but I don't really like the idea of that. I mean, there's always time to do a bunch of exploring, but Here's that pink. Here's this pink. I definitely like this pink more. Chandler's old design used to be very, how do you say, just bland. Like, he just was a white boy with brown hair. Then I changed him and I tried to make him more interesting. I liked a couple versions of his design, but none of them were ever like really all that good. Like, nothing ever really stuck. Maybe I could add the blue. She kind of is giving a little bit of Nurse Joy with the pink, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It honestly might help solidify her more as like a nurse. Well, she's a doctor, but oh, potato, tomato, potato, tomato. I don't know. Having a hard time. I feel like there's maybe not the best balance. Maybe if I do, I just like that these all these all look stupid. Since I changed him, he's just never ever had a very solid design. Like, even back when I first designed him and he just had a pink sweater and jeans, and I was like, this isn't very interesting. But I find men a lot harder to draw. Trying to keep your characters following like traditional masculine clothing is hard just because it's so boring. Which, I mean, that's why so many of my male characters lean feminine, or at least Finn does, because he wears crop tops. His hoodie thing is like very much a cropped jacket. So all my characters have powers, right? And I really like Kate's inclusion because she's the only character in this story that really exists without like a power that is used for combat. What her ability is that she can read any document of information just by looking at it. Like, she can memorize that information by just seeing it. The way she's grown up is that she's just learned so much about everything to the point where like she can basically kind of do any like regular person's job because she can just look at anything and memorize it. School was super easy for girls. So I still kind of like just the all blue palette. I just know that I should have more colors in it maybe, and I'm having a hard time figuring out what those colors should be. Just because I want her main color to be blue, I want to keep the coat white. I feel like that is going to help identify that this is like a doctor more than anything. I don't know. I'm having a hard time being like comfortable with any specific design. I kind of like the idea of putting pink in, maybe just as like a very small accent. I was thinking maybe like on the shoes I could add it in. Maybe her ponytail is pink. What about her name tag being pink? Okay, well, the thing that's hard for me here is that the pink hair tie and the pink collar are right next to each other, so maybe I keep the neck navy. I could just put the navy over it, as long as it's darker. Yeah, I kind of like the pink. I think that works pretty well for me. I don't know where else I would add the pink in that wouldn't feel like it's dominating. Yeah, and then the blue, it feels like, yeah, I'm satisfied with this. So we can move into a larger sketch to try and play around with that more. I really like how this is all looked so far. I want to do more studying on how bipolar affects people. I have relatives that have it, and I've seen Shameless. I've seen the show Shameless, so I basically know everything there is to know about. And I've seen BoJack Horseman, so I've seen so much, and I know so much about it. A good deep study of that might be helpful, and maybe I could return to her design after doing a little bit of that studying. I just want, like, at the beginning of the story for her to be someone who's really managing it well. Like, that, I want that to be a big aspect. I don't know why she has bipolar. First idea was just like it's genetic, or it could be partially about the fact that her mom has passed away, just like maybe brought it up for her for the first time. Yeah, I don't know. The other reason she's really important to me to redesign before some of my other characters is because she actually has a much bigger role in the story than even the characters that I draw more frequently. Like, I think maybe Ko might be less important to the story than Kate, but I draw Ko the most. But I just like drawing Ko. I'm sorry. I like red and black. Also, Reese is very good friends with Kate. Like, they have a close relationship, kind of like mother-daughter, I would describe. Okay, I did not leave enough room for the shoes, but we're just gonna pretend. I also think that the capris make her look shorter, and I do kind of imagine Kate being like fairly short. Oh, I really like the sketch so far. I imagine that she has locks and then she puts them in this ponytail. As somebody who's white, I try to be conscious of the way I design my characters of color to make sure that like things are accurate. And like I think the biggest thing for me is like making sure hair feels somewhat accurate but still stylized in a way that I find fun to draw. I should say her last name, but she does not have a last name. I really like this detail. I think that helped with like making the coat more interesting. I also think that she really has the boxy shape that I wanted. I think that's kind of why I like this design, because square characters are known for being more stable, like sturdy people, and I think as the series in my head goes on, her design would get more pointy. I feel like that could be cool stuff. Basically, I just have changed her hairstyle mostly to just make a little bit more sense, so I've put it in locks, and I really like giving them this very big squarish shape. I was talking at the beginning of this video, I don't know if I'm gonna really have a solid design. I think I kind of am getting there. There's definitely stuff that's able to change, but as of right now, maybe what I'll do next is do some studies of dreadlocks. This blue is dying. I need to go to an art store at some point and get another one of these. I really like this navy. Adds some good pizzazz. Maybe I can make her gloves pink, but I want the pink to be very much like an accent, and it's hard to balance it to just be an accent and not like the main color. So I think I might just keep the glove a lighter blue. My designing skills are maybe a little rough because I haven't done a lot of character design recently in the way I used to. Like, I used to be designing characters all the time. I just made the hand worse by trying to give it more definition. Here's a thought, just because I want... no, I'm not even gonna put that on here. I was thinking maybe giving like the seams of the outfit a pink outline, but I don't know. Also, if you know anything more about character design than I do, please help me. I don't know what I'm talking about and I don't know what I'm doing. I really like how this spread is gone. But yeah, let's just do some different studies of different locks and hair. Is there any room to study over here? I'll do one study right here. I really like doing studies, so maybe I'll play around with her hair a little bit. Yeah, I could draw Kate with like some different hairstyles. That's fun. Now that I kind of have the outfit solidified, I feel more free to play with things like this. I want something that feels very square. So maybe, I mean, I'll play around with this. I mean, this is like a high ponytail. I kind of like the side one, but again, this is all for experimentation's purposes. I really like her big square glasses. I also just love these glasses on people in general. Like, maybe I could just make her ponytail really long, like it's high up. I feel like this makes her maybe look more youthful though. I kind of like the fact that her hair kind of made her feel a little bit older. Fill out the rest of the design to see how it all looks together. I like it, but again, it doesn't feel quite like her, because I also think that she's a nerd. Like, she's very much a nerd. I mean, you have the ability to absorb every piece of information. You're a nerd automatically. Figure out her side profile. Okay, this is the thing. I like imagine her nose to be square and it's like very short, but I don't know how to draw that from the side. This is another good thing for me to practice. I don't really have the best sense of turning a character 3D. So I completely have no idea where I left off. So my phone ran out of storage. This has happened multiple times while I've been filming. I definitely like the front piece bangs. I like where we've gone so far. I like how this has progressed. I feel like I'm now more confident in the hairstyle choice. Actually, I'll just sketch for fun. I had the idea of maybe her locks kind of poof out at the end, at least the ones that like frame her face do. I like the thought of maybe it covers just to her chin. I'm kind of doing some dilly-dallying. I think maybe I'll do like one final drawing of her. Now I'm gonna be kind of, what's her neck again? What's going on with her neck? The darker blue. Okay, because that's what I wanted to put in. It's good when you kind of have an intuitive feel for drawing your character. I kind of try to design my characters in a way that I can maybe at least remember, because then I can draw them again and not need to like find a reference. Or if I don't get my reference and I don't get it like fully correct, usually I'll just keep whatever change I made, because it usually just like aligns more with what makes the most sense for me. I keep flipping to the wrong page. Okay, yeah, the lighter blue is on the, again, that's what I intuitively felt like was right. Okay, I like this. I might just do a little, oh, that was a horrible noise. I love to add this to my sketches. Makes the spread look more fun. Now what do I want to do? I feel like maybe I'm ready to do a final, or maybe, wait, did I play around with the Plague Doctor theme or in the later part of the story? I think we'll do maybe a couple sketches of that. I don't know. I was thinking of doing like one final drawing of her to like give this a satisfying end and like make it really nice and finished, but I don't really want to do a polished drawing. Probably wouldn't be able to see all of her hair, but I wasn't thinking, and so we'll just roll with it as one of the many ideas. The interesting thing about Reese and Kate is that a little bit of their arcs parallel each other, just sort of in this one aspect, because Reese gains weight in the story, like as a later part in it, and it is for the better. It is meant to represent that she has experienced growth in a good way. For Kate, she loses weight. It is representative of how things are going worse, like she is regressed. I just like the concept of these difference in appearances project the idea that gaining weight is a bad thing, when that's not always the case. Same thing with losing weight. Her losing weight is a result of bad things happening in her life, not good. I don't know what I would give her down here. Like, this doesn't make sense to add in. I was saying this earlier with like the more spiky, so maybe we could do really cool stuff with the hair. I should also look up some Plague Doctor masks, because I'm really just, I've drawn a good few in my time, but I like the idea of she's wearing it like it's a face mask, and then it just is like pushes all of her hair in, and then it jets out. Maybe just like really crazy locks. This looks like stupid. Maybe I'll end the video. I don't know. I think maybe this is something I need to like really dive deep and explore, and this has already been very helpful, very solidifying. So I think I'll leave this where it is, but I'll do one last sketch of her. Actually, let's go back to just this page and draw her, because there's the perfect amount of room. I'm actually quite happy. It was actually very surprising that I got this done, because when I was working on it earlier, I was like, man, this design is not getting anywhere. If I work on it in this video, I have to be entertaining and try and design a whole ass character. I'm very happy with her hair. I'm glad I did like a little bit of studying, even though it didn't really change much of her design. Just look at how dumb she looks over. The comparison between these sketches makes me very happy. I also think that because her ability is that she can memorize any sort of text, I think about how that would relate with different languages. And I think the way it works is that she can read anything and like memorize the information, but that doesn't necessarily mean that she understands it. If she learned enough about like the rules of the language and what everything meant, it would be pretty simple, I would imagine, just like flipping through every every piece of Mandarin homework that you have, and then there you go. And did I get her full body in still? Not exactly. I kind of like the square sketchbook. I think even though I liked using a smaller sketchbook recently, I do still think that larger ones are maybe my preference, just because you can fit so much stuff on one page. And I think square, these compositions, two square really long rectangle, makes a very interesting composition. Kate might be my only character with sneakers, because I used to give that to a few characters, but I have not done that in a while. We'll add in all the things, and I'm gonna try and do this from memory, because I think that will actually help me solidify this more. Like, if I can remember it, that's like ideal for me. I think after this, maybe I'll try and anytime I try to redesign Chandler, I just have the hardest time. I just don't think I can make a regular man look swaggy. It's kind of hard. They don't have enough aura. Once there's a certain thing that happens in the story, her character palette switches to mirror a different character's palette. It'd be interesting to do some playing around with that at some point. But for right now, I'm just doing what I want. For a second, I was going to make these a darker color. Then I was like, I don't really like that. And then I was like, oh, I don't like it. It's probably because I remember them being a lighter blue. Then her hair, I accidentally gave her straight across bangs. Do I kind of like that? No, I feel like those make her look younger. I feel like bangs are always given to characters to make them look younger. I would do a finished illustration of her, but I just really don't want to. I so would do that if I had any interest or wanted to at all, but I don't. I just realized that her palette is very reminiscent of a certain flag. She does not belong to that group of people, but her husband does. Maybe she's just a really good ally. Like maybe at the end of her thing she has like this stripe that goes across. Well, maybe I'll play around with that more off camera, but for right now, guys, she's done. And now I can actually draw her interacting with other characters and not feel like, who even is this girl pretending to try and be? Let's do a little flip through. So we started with, well, we really started with, I could put her OG design on, but we went from this, which I kind of liked this all right, but it didn't feel very doctory, and I didn't love how it looked. Same thing with these, you know, not really quite turning out how you want them to. And then I wanted to practice drawing larger bodies, and then I lost a bunch of footage and I decided that's not going to be a YouTube video anymore. And then I did these and she looked dumb, and even though she's looking more like a doctor, she didn't still feel like herself. Playing around, played with some color palettes, really loved this design, studied some hair options, but basically just did one hair study and then decided I basically got the gist and tried to her later story plotline a little bit more, but then we ended here. I might do some more doodles of her and put them on screen just so that it feels more satisfying. I feel like this isn't like the most huge conclusion. Like I feel like maybe doing a finished illustration would feel maybe more completed, but alas, I don't have the interest. And if you liked any of the art you saw in this video, or if you want to keep up with any future things I make, or want to see more of my characters potentially, that'd be really cool. I have Instagram and TikTok, which I post on weekly. I have my Pinterest board, which if you want to draw my characters for whatever reason, you could go there, see some of their like style vibes. Also, if you want to see more art videos, subscribe. Also, if you just have any like art critique for this design, like if you're cool like that, I'd love to hear it. So if you have any interest in sticking around and seeing more of Kate and potentially all my other characters that are bouncing in my head, consider subscribing. Okay, bye-bye.